Good morning, good morning, good morning, Facebook, good morning, YouTube. We are live, the first episode back of the Smoke Ring Syndicate. Got a special guest today, Mr. Mark Lambert. Mark, can you hear me good?
I hear you.
Fantastic, fantastic. We'll go ahead and jump in this episode and get started, man. You ready?
I appreciate you having us, man.
Absolutely. What's up, guys? Wes the People's Pitmaster back again for another episode of the Smoke Ring Syndicate. It's my weekly barbecue podcast that drops every Wednesday at 5:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. We're back for 2025. We've got a special guest, first guest of the year, Mr. Mark Lambert, the legend Mark Lambert, seven-time world champion. Welcome to the show, brother.
Appreciate it, man.
Absolutely honored to have you on the show. So let's jump in. I've got a bunch of folks that are already started to join the stream, and as you guys have questions, feel free to ask, and we will get them on the air as we can. Seven times, that's all. Addicted to the Q says, yeah, just seven times. We'll discuss it here in a little while, but I got a question for you that I'm just dying to know. But what did Mark Lambert do to get into barbecue? Did you grow up around it? Is it because I know you're kind of in the South? Did you go to the church functions where you guys are barbecuing chicken and that got you interested into that? Or what was your background before barbecue?
Man, fell into it. I grew up in a home that we lived in the country and we didn't go out to eat a lot. So
Hmm.
my family, my mom cooked and my grandmother cooked. And so I grew up at home cooking. And so I learned a lot
Hmm.
about cooking from the mom and grandmother but didn't grow up around barbecue. As a kid, barbecue to us was, ribs on the PK grill, grilled, or pork steak on the grill, or burgers or hot dogs, or I don't think I ever had a pulled pork sandwich until I moved to Memphis. um,
Really?
there was one little barbecue joint in my hometown, Idabel, Oklahoma, called Smokehouse over by the cinema, and it was just a trailer. I mean, it was a
Hmm.
food truck before food trucks were cool. It was a
Yeah.
little trailer, and it just had a big smoker out back and a pile of wood. And I really never ate anything there except some jerky the guy made. Um,
Hmm.
just wasn't barbecue wasn't a thing. If you went to eat barbecue, it usually had had like fried fish with it as a buffet across the
Yeah.
river on Friday night or something. So barbecue just wasn't a thing where I grew up. Um, really didn't get into any of it. I really didn't know anything about barbecue culture or food or cooking or anything until um, I guess somewhere around 1996, 97.
Hmm.
Um, I went to a Memphis in May, I think in like 95. No, it would have been way earlier than that. It would have been like 89. I went to a Memphis in May with my brother before I ever
Hmm.
moved to Memphis. And then I moved to Memphis in 91. And then by 95, I had a job working at the phone company. And phone company does a lot of hospitality because they have to have leases for cell sites. And,
Yeah.
they got to entertain customers and potential customers. And so they had a booth at Memphis in May. And that was my first job out of college. And they asked us to go down and help out with set up and tear down. They asked
Hmm.
us to go and help with, serving everybody in the hospitality, and they let us do it on the clock, and they let us have a few beers while we're doing it on the clock. So that was a pretty easy sell for me. You get to be on the
Yeah.
and you drink beer and have fun, and oh yeah, I'm in.
Yeah.
So
Absolutely.
we
Going to
did
be the
that.
dishwasher.
Yeah, that was it was I called it what would we call ourselves? Charcoal bitches, man. We just toted around whatever you told us to and do whatever you said. And so anyway, we had fun doing that for a couple of years. And I met a buddy of mine, Jody Bryant, was one of the cooks on the team. Um, Met all the guys and just sort of got introduced to barbecue in general through that. Was
Hmm.
worked before that in the restaurant business uh, as a bartender, server, cook, manager,
Hmm.
you name it, and learned a lot about food service and more about cooking and plating and serving there. But then
Yeah.
whenever we started Memphis in May through Bell South, learned a lot bit more about the cooking side of it and
Yeah.
presentation and uh, more about preparation and flavor profiles. And so anyway, a couple of years of that, of just being one of the grunts, And I
Yeah.
guess they had a bad year and sort of cut the budget, and Memphis May was out. They weren't doing it
Yeah.
anymore. So we had a big team meeting, all the guys that still wanted to do Memphis in May, and we decided we were going to keep doing it. We're all going to pool our funds, find some sponsors, keep doing it, and we're going to change our team name, and we're going to keep moving forward. So we had
Yeah.
a meeting at a bar, and everybody, spitballing names, and nobody could come up with anything that wasn't too cheesy. And I just happened to go in the bathroom, and on the radio, on the house radio, was playing "Sweet Child of Mine," and just started kind
Hmm.
of singing to myself, and then just spit it out. And I couldn't get my hands washed quick enough to get back out there and say, I got it, I got the name. And everybody's, pretty much they just said it sucked less than everything else we'd come up with, so it was good. And so we changed the name to Sweet Child of Mine, continued to cook for another couple of years, and didn't really we weren't a contender. We were there cooking, having fun.
Yeah.
But we were learning and we were trying. But we just had an inferior cooker. We had a decent process, but we just weren't moving anywhere. So we did a little investigative work to figure out what all the guys that were winning, what they were doing. We started paying attention, started shigging, right? Figured out
Yeah.
what we needed to do to win. Figured out we needed a new cooker. Figured out that getting the cook right was the main thing. The flavor part was pretty easy. Once we figured out the cooker and got us a backwood smoker, then we started off right and immediately started winning with the backwood smoker. Well, lo and behold, right before all this happened, my buddy Jody passed away, the guy that was the head cook. And I was the only one that paid close enough attention to him and what he did to be able to take over and get something cooked, halfway decent. So I was a head cook, and we bought a new smoker, and we took off, and we won a second place at a sanctioned cook-off, and then we went and won a first place in the grand championship. And then that very same year that he passed away, on our old rotisserie smoker, we got ninth place at Memphis May. So it gave us encouragement. We moved ahead, bought new smokers, started trying new things, and started placing, started winning. And at Memphis in May, after that, we really never broke the top 10 until about 2005. 2005, I think, was the first year we got back in the top 10, but we won. We won our division at top 10, whole shoulder. And then, like the next year we were 8th, and the next year I think we were 2nd. And then the next year we were 1st, and then we were 1st again and grand champion. And and then at that point, we're starting to think about, hey, this is a opportunity. So we started trying to sell some barbecue rub, right? Everybody wanted our rub, and we were making it in a big stainless steel bowl on the in our laundry room, right? Had all our seasonings up there. We were making stainless steel bowl.
Well, as everybody, that's where everybody keeps their seasoning. It keeps them nice and dry, and
above the
that's
dryer.
the best place to keep them, is right above the dryer.
Yeah, so we made them right there on the dryer every time we needed them, but we could only make about 5 pounds at a time, and it became a lot of demand. So we found a local company to make it, and while it was good, it wasn't exactly what we wanted it to be. Right? It was good, it just wasn't the same. But after we won in 2009, we had a company come to us, and that was the Barbecue Spot, or Old World Spices and Seasonings, OWS they call themselves now. They come to us and said, hey, we want to start this program. We want you to be on the very front of it. We want to sell name branded Pitmaster rubs and sauces all in one place. We want to take them all to national markets, to buyers where they can buy 25 different national brands, well-known, successful brands from one place. And we think we can, we want to start with you guys, you and 2 others, and we want to take off and see how this works. And we want to make your rub. Okay.
Yeah.
So luckily when they made it, it was tasted exactly like what I made on the dryer.
Yeah.
So we were already light years ahead. We had a cheaper price. We had, a great product, and we had something that was marketable, this on the shelf already, a lot of nationwide locations right off the bat. And they went out as they do with a lot of other pitmasters, and they promoted all of our products to nationwide retailers. And they started taking it to Lowe's and Ace Hardwares, and now they're moving into lots of other places, Tractor Supplies and Shields and Orscheln's and Fleet Farms and Homes. People that sell grills. They went after hardware rather than grocery, because grocery
Yeah.
is a different sale. It goes through distributors. There's another level of markup in there. You've got to pay for your real estate. And in hardware, it's not like that. In hardware,
Yeah.
you sell them a product, they put it on the shelf, and they sell it and make a profit on it, kind of like business is supposed to be. So they went to the hardware side of things, and it was very successful for a while.
Yeah.
A couple of years ago, they sold off that business to an investment company, and we've been through a few bumpy roads since then. But we're taking back off, and we're back on the road to success again. So since the very beginning, we come out with this original barbecue rub that everybody knows. It's on shelves everywhere. Since then, we've come out with a couple of new products. We've got 4 rubs now, and those rubs are our apple chipotle, roasted garlic, and Texas beef. We've got 4 sauces, and those 4 sauces we came out with initially, based on a sauce from our sauce guy on our team. He gave me a base, and we developed our own sauce. Our original, it's a Memphis style sauce. It's kind of sweet and tangy.
Yeah.
And then buddy of mine grew up in the Carolinas, had a vinegar mop recipe he gave me, and I took it and kind of blended it with some of my original sauce to come out with a sweet and spicy vinegar sauce based off of that original. And then a bunch of us that used to run around together and teach classes together, Malcolm Reed and we came up with this sauce because in our classes we used to teach classes together, and we had this sauce that we blended his sauce and my sauce together, and we came out with the Lambo combo. So rather than just mixing them all the time, we decided we're going to put it in one bottle. We've got the old Lambo combo that we used to win with all the time, and we still use it and win with it. And now you can buy that without having to blend all the different products together. And then most recent sauce is Wilsonshire, which is a craft Worcestershire sauce that my buddy Joe Wilson came up with. And we took it to market because he said it just wasn't his gig. He wasn't going to do it. So he gave us the recipe. We took off with this, and now Joe Wilson doesn't have to make it anymore. So it's a good, intense, much more intense, stronger Worcestershire sauce. It's not thick. It's thin like Worcestershire is supposed to be. But super, super for marinating and for sauces and salad dressings, everything.
It's good in meatloaf. Side note.
100%.
I don't know nothing about all that.
But along the way, we've made a lot of friends. We travel all over the world, really, and teach classes. And a lot of our friends, some of our best friends, are right here in Olive Branch, Mississippi, real close. So made good friends a few years back with the guys from Boys Not Out and helping them develop White Lightning, and running around the country and cooking with those guys. And we hunt and fish together and hang out together. And one year we decided, hey, you've got this really good rub, and I've got this really good rub. We were heavy in the state competition, so why don't we put the 2 best state rubs together for a perfect combination of steak flavors. And so we put together, I don't think I have that bottle, but this is the product. We put together Boys Not Out's double garlic butter, White Lightning double garlic butter, and we put together our Texas beef. We blended those 2 things together, and we've been doing it for years, but we were layering them on instead of blending them together, right? So we said, we've been layering them on so many years, why don't we just put them together and have a collaboration rub? So we decided this year to put together, we decided it a little over a year ago. It's just taken until this year to bring it into fruition. But we decided to bring the Texas Tornado.
Yeah.
So it's a dual branded rub with Boys Not Out, Sweet Swan of Mine, and it's a perfect storm, we're calling it, of flavors. And we we designed it as a steak rub, but man, we found it to be so good on turkey and good on we did it on bacon and eggs the other morning. It's amazing. Just found out that it's a really, really good all-purpose rub. It'll be out next month. It'll be available on boysnotout.com and Sweet Swan of Mine website, ssomd.com. But it's an amazing rub that's good on anything. And a lot of folks use all-purpose rub a little too much. This again was designed for beef, but we found it's the best rub we've ever found on turkey.
I was gonna say it's probably a very very similar to what a lot of the Texas guys do with their turkey.
Yep.
And that's kind of what I do at the house. If I'm doing turkey breast, it's going to be it normally is a beef style type rub.
Yep.
And I like a little coarser with my turkey. It's just personal preference. I like the little pepper bites in there. So that'd probably be right up my alley for that.
Yeah, and if you're putting, I found that if you're putting a seasoning on the outside of a big chunk of meat, you're
Hmm.
only going to get a tiny bit of that on the outside whenever you slice it or pull it. So it needs to be a little more intense in order to
Hmm.
carry through a big piece of meat. This one is much finer, but because it's designed to use on so many things, I'm like you. If I put it on turkey, I put extra black pepper on it just
Yeah,
because I want extra black pepper.
yeah.
I tell you one good thing I found. I don't know where I put it, but there is a little seasoning bottle that we found on turkey or brisket's really good called Livia's. It's a SPG. If you've never
I
seen it, I don't know where I put it.
I think
Oh,
I've
here it is.
heard of that.
It's a Livia's. There you can see it.
Hmm.
But if you ever see this, don't be afraid to buy
Yeah,
it. I'm not here to promote them, but I'm gonna tell you, I use it and it makes you
yeah,
happy. It's really good.
yeah,
We're here to make
yeah,
other folks happy.
yeah.
So anyway, that's where we are as a company. We started years ago uh, selling smokers too to promote, well, to fund our habit.
Yeah.
When you're fresh
I
out
was
of
gonna
college,
say. Yeah, I was gonna say that's a kind of a means to an end. How do you get to go barbecue? You've got to figure out some sort of income to go with the hanging out and smoking barbecue on the weekends.
guys that are independently wealthy, most of those guys don't fall into barbecue. So if you're
No,
not independently wealthy, you got to figure out a way to make it happen if you want to
yeah,
continue it because it's not cheap. So
no,
I started selling smokers. I said our first smoker was a backwoods, and when we figured out that we were going to buy one. We went to the manufacturer to buy one, and looking for a dealer, and his dealer in Memphis was gone. He moved to Fort
mhm,
Worth, and I'm like, well, you need a dealer in Memphis. I need to buy smokers, and I said, and I can be your guy. I can sell them.
yeah,
So I talked
yeah,
him into selling me smokers as a dealer,
mhm,
and we immediately started selling more backwoods smokers than anyone else in the country. For
yeah,
15 years, we sold more backwoods than anyone in the country when we were hot and heavy on them.
mhm,
And that, supporting, I stocked them in my garage and I stocked them in a little building in my backyard. You know, I did everything. I bought storage facilities so I could bring more in. So we did everything we could to sell smokers so I could go cook.
yeah,
So that just sort of spawned into our business now, which we sell smokers and grills. We sell our own line of sauce and rub. We sell a few accessories, not many. We
mhm,
focus on what our strength is not necessarily all the sauces and rubs, but our strength is in experience in barbecue equipment and cooking. So we're able to help people pick out the right smoker or grill for their needs, how to use it, make sure we get it delivered to them or shipped to them, which is
mhm,
sometimes hard to do. And most of the time, unlike a lot of other uh, barbecue stores, we stock a lot of product. We have a big warehouse. So we
mhm,
stock smokers and grills that other people don't. They drop ship them. So we
yeah,
have them here. We can get them out immediately. We help them figure out what they want, what they need, how to get it to them the most efficient way. And that's been our business model, is actually answering the phone as a business owner and helping people directly instead of, hiring people that don't necessarily know what they're doing. Um,
yeah,
we've got a really good arm of Old World now that handles most of the sales of our sauces and rubs. We still sell a lot to independent retailers, and we ship some
mhm,
out of here. They ship some out of their location for us, but here primarily it's um, social media.
mhm,
We shoot videos for YouTube and Facebook, Instagram. We sell smokers. We repair and work on smokers. We teach cooking classes. Um, you know, we prepare and travel for cooking competitions. Uh, we do events, we do classes, we go speak. So, you know, my goal after I think probably since 2009 or so was to do barbecue full time, and was able to do it in 2013. It was
yeah,
It was a goal. After eventually, you figure out what you want to do, and if
Yeah.
you can do what you like to do and make a living, and write off your expenses for your hobby because it's your business. It's
Yeah.
winning. And so
Yeah.
we we fell into a recipe for winning. I'm not going to say that we had a plan. We
Yeah.
eventually had a plan, but it took I'm going to say it took 4 years from, hey, this is what I think I want to do, to this is what I'm doing.
Yeah. Well, and it's kind of like, when you were first starting, it was just like the opportunity presented itself. The world said, "Hey, the phone company's not going to do the barbecue stuff anymore," and you're like, "Well, I kind of like doing the barbecue stuff. Let me figure
Yeah.
out a way to do the barbecue stuff."
Never had
Um,
envisioned it was going to be what I did for a living. Just know that I liked it. It was fun. It was fulfilling.
yeah. Well, and the barbecue community, as most everybody watching knows, is pretty much everybody is, I wouldn't say an open book, but like is inviting and is like, hey, yeah, come in and break bread with us, and this is what we found to work for us,
It
and
hadn't always been that
it's
way, though.
no, it hasn't, especially. Probably, yeah, about the time you started playing in the barbecue world. Probably in the last, I'd say probably 7 to 10 years, everybody's kind of eased up on, I'm not sharing my secrets,
Hmm.
and I think that's a little bit to do with the amount of social media stuff that's out there, because you've got people that are like, hey, this is the rub that I make. Matter of fact, I've got a buddy of mine that does a Jamaican rub, and he literally for the last like 2 or 3 years shows everybody exactly what it is that he does, but now he sells that in a bottle. He doesn't necessarily share it, as regular, but it's still out there. You can go look for it if you want to, but like the more people we invite into the barbecue world, the better the barbecue world, the bigger barbecue world is. And it's kind of like the barbecue world in general is like rising tides lift all ships, and it's kind of what's good for everybody, because it gets barbecue out in front of more people, and you're kind of one of the barbecue philanthropists, as I see you. Kind of like Harry Sue does a lot of similar things. He's all the time going to doing stuff and helping people and having conversations and furthering folks in the barbecue world. That doesn't necessarily help him or help you, but it feels good to do, and it kind of grows the barbecue world, right?
Yeah, I mean, eventually, back in the day, winning competitions was the goal, right?
Oh
But
yeah.
after you've won a few competitions, it feels better to see someone else win or help someone
Hmm.
else win, or I would say maybe better. It feels just as good when you lift somebody else up and help them win as it does yourself. So,
Yeah.
over the years we've taught a lot of people how to cook different things, and how to do presentations, how to sort of in some sense reproduce what we do, that's a recipe
Hmm.
for success. And so many
Hmm.
people have gone on to win, uh, after sitting down and teaching them not only how to cook or how to present, or no matter, or people go on to win after we've helped them, and that's fulfilling as can be. I'm telling you. Same thing in business. I had tons of people that come to me that want to start a business, and they talk to me about,
Hmm.
you know never really thought about someone as a somebody that could teach you anything about business. But funny enough, I have tons of people that come and ask me questions, starting their own business ventures, asking me questions, and
Yeah.
you just have to ask the right questions, and hear they I think they have to hear the answers themselves whenever you
Yeah.
ask the questions, the basic simple questions, uh, in order for people to have the confidence to jump in with both feet sometimes. And
Yeah.
sometimes all you got to do is talk it out. And if I'm that guy, hey, I think I've been that guy a few times. It's great.
Yeah. Absolutely. And I've had folks, like I've had guests like yourself on, and then I'll get a message from somebody. They're like, something that your guest said to me resonated with me, and now I'm doing XYZ, or now I'm trying to do
Hmm.
XYZ.
I had
And
lots
it's
of people that tell me, I can't believe you tell everybody exactly what you do. You don't tell them everything. You hold back something. I'm like, no,
oh
there's no reason to. I said,
yeah,
there's so many variables in barbecue
yeah,
that there's no reason to hold anything back, because no one's ever going to precisely nail every variable of exactly what you do and how you do it, because so it won't ever come out exactly the same.
yeah,
Um, I tell everybody there's one instance that I remember I found that I taught someone how to do it, and he had an engineer on his team, and his engineer was, man, he was OCD about taking notes, and he took notes about stuff that I didn't tell him to take notes about. He was the
yeah,
guy that paid attention to all the nuances and variables. And those guys, the year after I taught them how to cook pork shoulder, they went to Memphis in May and got second in Memphis in May, and I got first.
yeah,
Same exact recipe. And we got
yeah.
first and second that year. So I was like, he called me and was all fired up about making finals. And I said, well, guess who else made finals, Hot Rod? And we got a picture of us with first and second place trophy in 2008. That was awesome. I mean, it's one of my
Yeah,
favorite stories, is that
yeah,
very few people pay that close of attention to be able to perfectly reproduce your product, but
yeah,
they did it flawlessly, man. And it was cool to see. Most people just don't pick up on everything because there's so
yeah.
many pieces of the puzzle.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Well, I mean, if you want to get really down into it, I mean, you got like the temperature that you're cooking at, the temperature around, the humidity in the air, the humidity in the pit. I mean, like I mean, the thickness of your smoke. I mean, there's a
The
lot
type
of
of the
stuff.
pit, the type of charcoal
Yeah,
or wood. Yeah,
yeah,
there's so many different variables, and whether some people how you wrap your meat,
hmm
or if you do or if you don't, when you wrap it, how you rest your meat, how you serve it. I mean, there's just
yeah,
so many different things that people don't pick up on that make light years a difference. When it
hmm
comes to to winning and getting on stage, people just don't pay attention. So there's no reason to hold anything back. There's enough that people don't pay attention to that you don't have to worry about it.
yeah, yeah. So you're wrapping. Do you wrap barbecue? I mean, I obviously probably for competition stuff you probably do, but like at the house, are you wrapping anything? And if you do, what do you wrap with?
No, we typically don't wrap just when we're cooking barbecue for the church or whatever. We put it on the smoker and we let it roll. We don't worry about wrapping. It takes a little longer, but we just allow for the time, and it makes for a great bark on the outside. And wrapping when you're cooking in volume is just a big mess. So we just try to
Yeah,
eliminate the time and the mess and the expense of the foil and all.
yeah,
So in competition, we wrap just to kind of preserve color.
color.
Sometimes a big old meteorite's not as appealing to a judge as when you're showing them a whole pork butter, whole shoulder. That that meteorite look is not what they're looking for. They want something a little more unnatural, a little more soothing, and so we're able to wrap it and give them a prettier, redder
Yeah,
color, so to speak.
yeah,
And if you're not presenting whole cuts of meat, it's not as important. But if you
hmm
are, appearance, you eat with your eyes first, then your nose
yeah,
second, and
for
your mouth
sure.
third. So you have to think about those things. So when we compete, we always wrap. Um, these days, if we're cooking whole shoulders, we we don't wrap completely. We just sort of tint. We just put foil
hmm
over, and so everything is still drains. It doesn't braise in there. A
Yeah,
lot of
it's gonna.
folks wrap it completely and they braise the meat and it gets done quick, but it really separates everything and it breaks everything down quicker, and it's harder to hit that perfect line of doneness, and texture.
Yeah,
So we just tint for whole shoulders. Now, when it comes to KCBS or something like that, we wrap, but we wrap it in food service film. It's
hmm
cheaper, it's easier, it's more containment, it holds everything better. Uh, so when we wrap like a money muscle or something, we wrap it in food service film. We put a probe
hmm
in it and it seals itself up.
yeah,
Uh, we find better containment. It's cleaner, it's cheaper, works great for
and,
us.
and you can actually kind of watch it too.
Yeah,
That way,
it swells
that's
up, man. It
yeah,
swells up. When you take it off, it's a big old bubble. So when you put it in to hold it in the Cambro, it shrinks back down and it sucks all that
it's
back in.
that's gonna say sucking the humidity back into the actual meat itself. That's probably That's probably a pretty daggum good idea.
I tell you,
So,
when you're cooking meat, when you put a piece of meat on the grill, it starts firming up. It goes from
hmm
soft to firm to soft, right?
yeah,
So
yeah,
it firms up and gets hard because you're exerting force on it and it's pushing moisture out. And then when
hmm
you wrap it in that film, it's still real firm and it's pushing that moisture out. And so that's why that thing swells up. The film seals itself and it swells up because it's pushing out. But what it's doing is it's keeping that evaporative cooling from happening, the stall from happening. So it
hmm
continues to cook fast. And then whenever you take it out, it slowly starts to relax again. And as it starts to relax, it will absorb some of that back,
yeah,
and the fibers will relax again and go back from, if you cut it right then, it's not going to be at its perfect tenderness. But you allow it to relax and the temperature to come back down, then it's more tender, and you've allowed it to relax in all of that wonderful juice that you've created inside that wrap. So we
yeah,
leave the probe in it, and we'll leave the probes hooked up, and so we know our temperature. So we know
hmm
that right when we hit, we know what that temperature was when we sliced it, because it's different every time. You want your meat to be somewhat warm when they judge it. Uh,
yeah,
you know it's never going to be hot, but
yeah,
we pay attention to that temperature when we slice it, so that it's easy to slice, and also so that it has the right texture when the judges get it. So food service film is a huge tip. We only really use it on pork butts. We
hmm
still wrap our briskets in a pan with aluminum foil with a probe. We still wrap our ribs in aluminum foil. Really haven't changed any of that. Chicken, we still cook in a pan and wrap the pan with aluminum foil. Pork's about the only thing we really do that with,
hmm
but it works really good. We've won tons and tons of
I,
180s and first places on our pork with doing
yeah,
it that way.
yeah, I was gonna say that's a big part of the seven. You know, the 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 big seven there that everybody talks about is, you're consistent with what you do, and I mean your flavors may change here and there a little bit, but your process itself is, I mean, you got to have that perfect cook, and if you can get
And
that
we
perfect
travel
cook
and cook
every
all over the
time,
place. And, folks equate our success with Memphis in May. That's because that's where most of it's happened. But
hmm
since we started having success in Memphis in May, we started going and cooking different places. We went to the American Royal and cooked. And,
hmm
first time I cooked it there, I almost won it. If I knew how to cook a brisket, then we would have won it the first time I ever cooked it.
yeah,
I mean, we placed in pork immediately, and we're high up in the others, but our brisket was so far down we didn't have a shot. But
yeah,
since then we've been top 10 in every category in different years at the Royal, and one of them was at first place ribs in 2017. So we're
hmm
kind of proud of the fact that we've gone other places and learned how to cook in other sanctioning bodies and other
yeah,
proteins. We got a couple of first place chickens at the Royal, and
hmm
a couple of we got a first place rib. We got uh, one of our other. We went to the Houston Livestock Show and Rodeo. Got a chance to go
hmm
cook there, and after the first year, we almost, if our chicken cook you know, hadn't been late, we might have won the first year we cooked it. But our chicken cook was late, and our chicken wasn't done.
yeah,
Second year that we cooked it, we won that sucker. We won
yeah,
the Houston Livestock Show and Rodeo, and so uh, I think that year that we only finaled with one category, it was ribs, but we won overall. Went back to the year after that and reserved it the next year.
yeah,
Uh, so uh, proud of the fact that we can go and win at other sanctioning bodies, not just Memphis and May. Actually, people look
yeah,
at us as a Memphis team, Memphis and May style team, and we really
yeah.
are. But we've gone on and conquered some of the other animals as well.
Yeah, it's that you proved yourself other places too, for
Right,
sure.
right.
How many times you guys are cooking? How many weekends a year do you guys think you're cooking still?
Oh man, it may not be a contest, but we're probably cooking, 30 weekends a year,
hmm
and it may not be a weekend; it may be a week. It may be an event. I'd
Yeah,
say a good 30 a year, 35 a year.
yeah,
That we're cooking something somewhere throughout. It might be a week. I'd say so. I would just equate it to the number of weeks instead of weekends, because
hmm
weekends will be your contest, but we do a lot of events and trade shows and stuff like that, special events, and some of those are throughout the week.
yeah. Well, that's kind of the price of business. is,
Hmm.
that's what your business is barbecue. So you get to barbecue through the week, whereas, some of the folks that are, you know, uh, still hanging telephone wire and that sort of thing have to do it just on the weekends, whereas you've, enabled yourself to play during the week. Where some of us look at it as play, but some of us look at it as your business.
It's
Um,
work, but yeah, work doesn't have to suck. That's what I say.
yeah, it's it's one of those things like, if you do what you love, you never work a day in your life.
Yeah, yeah, that's exactly right. And uh, not everyone's blessed to get to do that, to do what they love to do, make a living at it. It's
Yeah,
it's something that's what I tell everybody. It's one of those things that if you don't start making steps toward it, it will never happen.
yeah,
And you don't. It's nothing that's ever going to happen immediately. Like I said, it took me when the time I decided it, it took 4 years.
hmm
But it was just a decision to do something every day to work toward it. Didn't have to be
so
much.
yeah, yeah,
One little step every day of doing something toward the goal of working in barbecue.
yeah. To coin what I kind of do this podcast for, the barbecue lifestyle. It's kind of, you're working towards the barbecue lifestyle, and you have to continually work the barbecue lifestyle to continue to stay in the barbecue lifestyle.
Yep.
Um, excuse me.
To be relevant, so to speak. I mean, if you have products out
Yeah,
there, if you're not relevant in your industry, then you don't garner the respect of people to get to buy your product.
yeah,
Uh, and if you're selling more than just something with your logo on it, you're
hmm
selling, other people's products, then you have to be respected in that industry to know that you know what you're talking about, that when you call, you're going to get answers, you're going to get help from people that know what they're
yeah,
talking about. And so over the years,
yeah,
we've been doing this for, you know, 26 years now, somewhat. So,
yeah.
um, I was super
Just
green when I
26
started,
years.
but now I feel like we know enough to help people. And
Yeah,
it's that's kind of what we do now is we make a living at it, but we help as many people along the way as we can. And
yeah,
that's one of the things that it's been, kind of our mission is not necessarily changed, but we've also added another mission of the Faith and Fires Ministry. And
hmm
we decided that, bringing people along and helping people along was important in barbecue, but it's also as important as bringing people along the way in salvation. And so
hmm
we find that all these people, there's a lot of spiritual, Christian people that travel to barbecue that maybe you don't know that they're Christian people. Uh,
hmm
and we found that a lot of those folks they're traveling on Sundays. They're not necessarily at church, and
yeah,
folks need to go to church. We're called to gather.
yeah,
And so we decided that it was important. A friend of mine started hosting what he called Cook's Church at
yeah,
cook-offs down in Louisiana. And I thought it was one of the coolest things when I finally realized what he was doing. It sounded so
yeah,
weird. But one day I realized what he was doing is he was taking church to the people, and
yeah,
he was encouraging people to stand out in their faith. And so when he eventually moved on to do something else and kind of fell off and didn't cook anymore, I was like,
hmm
we got to carry that torch. So
yeah,
Ashley and I decided to form this charity where we could raise a few funds to buy some Bibles and marketing materials and tents and flags and encourage other people to host Cook's Church to stand out in their faith at these cook-offs.
yeah.
And
And
it's
Faith
one of
and
the most
Fire was
rewarding.
born.
Yeah, it's just one of the most rewarding things to be able to see other people go out and accomplish the mission that we've set out to do, and which is just encouraging people to share their faith out and
Yeah,
open. My preacher said he's one of those. You're the Great Commission calls you to go out and make disciples of all nations. It doesn't mean you're supposed to go get saved and go sit under the tree and count your blessings up to yourself. You're supposed to
yeah,
share them, and you're supposed to
yeah,
share your share Jesus with many people as you can. And so the goal is that we're out there sharing our faith, encouraging other people to do the same, and hopefully someone looks at us and says, "Hey, I didn't know those guys are Christians, and look what they're doing, man. I can go do this." And we've had a
yeah,
bunch of people go on to host Cook's Church in different places all over the country.
yeah. I see. You can have barbecue sauce and you can have Jesus too, huh?
Absolutely, but it's one of those deals that we introduce faith to people in a very open atmosphere. And
Well,
so it's
it's
an encouragement ministry. It's not that you're going to throw it in their face and tell them they're going to hell if they don't get saved and accept Jesus as their Savior.
yeah,
It's an encouragement to know that, hey, all of these people that you know and like and trust and respect are followers and the Christians. Hey, it's okay.
yeah,
And sometimes all it takes is a little encouragement to say, hey, it's okay to for me to believe this and show this. And the
yeah,
more people do that, and encourage them, it's just an encouragement snowball.
yeah. Well, I mean, it's and it's also a little more relaxed atmosphere
Yep.
to kind of learn, especially somebody that's not, that doesn't do that on a regular basis, has never been around, that faith and that outward expression of stuff like that. But I mean, like it kind of follows along what it is that you do. Is kind of you share what you do. You share barbecue. You share your faith. You share your knowledge. And so I mean, it doesn't surprise me. It's like that's it's kind of what you do. Is you're a little bit of a philanthropist, and that's part of your personal stuff, and you want to share that with everybody else.
Yeah, we don't, and typically, man, we don't go into our Cook's church. We try to organize it, before Cook's meetings to where people are
Hmm.
already gathered, because sometimes getting them to leave what they're doing to come to somewhere for 5 or 10 minutes is hard. But we try to organize this Cook's church in places where folks are already gathered so that they'll
Hmm.
see what's going on, whether they're a part of it or not, whether they'll see what's happening and that they're curious and they want to be a part of it. Um,
Yeah.
and many times going into Cook's church, we don't know what we're going to talk about. And sometimes I think I'm going to talk about something and somebody else has got something to talk about.
Hmm.
And it just about every time somebody comes up to you and says, man, or they'll text you or email you and say, I really needed to hear that. It's because
Yeah.
God puts things on our heart to share because he knows someone else needs to hear it. And so
Yeah.
many times something just pops into our head to say, or someone else's pops in their head, or the devotional or something to share, and it because it's something someone else that's there needed to hear. And
Hmm.
our our God and Savior knew that they needed to hear it, so he just spit it out of somebody else's mouth. And
Yeah.
so that's the cool thing is that so many people get touched by simple stories that we tell at Cook's Church, and we tell everybody, encouraging them to do it and we tell them it's easy. It's 5 minutes, 5 to 10 minutes, some praise. Hey, we're thankful for this. We're doing this. We're healthy. We're happy. We made it here. Some praise for every good thing in life that's happening, and a
Hmm.
little devotional. Maybe sharing a story or something that happened, an anecdote, no matter what, something that relates to our faith, and then a little prayer. And that's praying for
Hmm.
people that need, either praying for other folks that are sick or going through something, praying for, safe travels, praying for that people share Jesus at Cook's Church, whatever it is, praise, prayer, and devotion. It lasts five to
Hmm.
10 minutes. And we have people that come to us and ask us, hey, how do we get Cook's Church in our cook-off? I was like, well,
Yeah.
you have to host it. Well, I can't do that. Well, if I can, you can.
Yeah.
And then when we break it down, it's nothing more than these. You got to cover these three things.
Yeah.
And I said, all you got to do is pray about it right before it, and good Lord put something on your heart to say. And if it doesn't, he's going to stick it in somebody else's. And so don't worry about it. Just organize
Yeah.
folks, get them together, and share your faith. That's it.
No, take care of itself,
Yep.
man. And so you've got the Faith and Fires, you've got the rubs and sauces, you've got the storefront, you've got everything else you've got going on. You even do a little live streaming yourself with you and Ashley. Um, I kind of feel like Ashley's probably listening to us right now. But you guys do the old school with Mark and Ashley, where you guys are hanging out and cooking. Um, was that something that was born to just to hang out or another reason to do something, or was is there a goal behind just the hanging out? Because I mean, it just seems like you guys are just a couple of buddies just hanging out, and we just happen to get to watch y'all hang out, and have a popsicle at the end of the show. What what birthed the old school?
Man, you're right. Just we caught ourselves hanging out and cooking something on a regular basis
Hmm.
and talking about hey what we just did or where we're going, what we're getting ready to go do, and it's like hey why don't we just stick this on camera, just
Hmm.
for the hell of it, be a little content. Maybe somebody will watch it, but if we're here cooking something, why don't we just film it? So that was it. We just decided
Yeah.
hey we do a lot of old school cooking. We do a lot of country style, old school cooking. Some of it's new stuff that we're just learning about and experimenting with, but we're kind of old school folks. So we decided it's old school Mark and Ashley, and we just get together and cook something and catch it on camera.
Hmm.
And a lot of folks, a lot of folks show up, and
Yeah.
it's generally a lot of the same group. There's some different folks come in and out, but
Yeah.
we have a huge family that come to old school, and everybody
Yeah.
seems to bring something different, share a different dish. You know, either cook something and bring it or cook it when they get here. But
Hmm.
folks show up and we all get to share a little bit of food and talk about what's going on and where we're going and where we've been and have
Hmm.
fun. And some
Yeah.
folks like to watch it.
Yeah. Well, it's just it's another one of those things that just kind of fell into your lap. I mean, it's years and years of work and everything else, but um, it's the opportunity has presented itself, and you go with where you're driven, where you're led to go.
A
It's
lot of
it's
times you
it's
fall into new stuff because you're trying, you're,
yeah.
you're, you're working at it, you're trying at it. But sometimes it's just,
Yeah.
you're just having fun.
Uh, oh,
And we just,
I wasn't saying that. Yeah, you've been gifted all of this stuff. No, there's nothing, nothing further from it. I mean, you're like, oh yeah, I've just been doing barbecue for 26 years, and it's
we work at it, but
just a
fortunately,
little.
it's a lot of fun along the way.
Yeah, yeah. Kent Vanderweerd says he had the pleasure of meeting you at the Royal last year, and says thank you.
Yeah, man, we get to meet a lot of people, and I wish I could remember more people's names. I remember a lot of faces, but names are
Yeah,
sometimes hard. But we travel so many different places, and we've been all over the world cooking barbecue
yeah,
in different ways, and it's a blessing to get to do it. I tell you.
yeah. So I was looking at, matter of fact, it was actually Ashley's post where he was having a fry bread taco. Um, walk me through what in the world led you to do the fry bread, the Indian fry bread, as a
Man,
taco.
it's just one of them stories of somewhere we were, or something we did, and we had never done it. And a lot of
Hmm.
places we'll go and we'll get to experience something outside of our normal, not necessarily skill set, but just environment. And so
Hmm.
in Oklahoma, Indian fry bread's a big thing. You know,
Hmm.
they make tacos with it. They put all kinds of stuff on it. It's just sort of it's one of those base layers that makes a meal out of anything. And so
Yeah,
I grew up in Oklahoma and really never thought anything about Indian fry bread. It was just something that they did at festivals. No big deal.
yeah.
But then we went back to the Rib Cook-Off Association Championship in Oklahoma City about 3 weeks ago, and first place we pull in at the Indian Casino, there's places Indian fry bread. I'm like, oh
Hmm.
yeah, forgot about that little deal. That's a thing over here still,
Yeah,
and it's a big thing,
yeah.
but it's a simple, real simple dough that you fry and
Mhm.
top it with whatever you want. And
Yeah,
so we were there on Friday night, and a bunch of folks went over and got fry bread tacos, and we sat down and ate them. We're like, man, I forgot how good this was. It's pretty good
yeah,
stuff. We need to try to make this sometime. Looked it up
yeah,
online and found that there wasn't a real good recipe video
uh,
online,
yeah,
but the basics of what you mix together were there. I'm like, well,
yeah,
this is just some dough with no fat in it, rolled out and fried. No problem.
yeah,
So we can take some dang uh, self-rising flour and some water and some salt and roll it out and fry it. And that's what we did.
yeah,
So I was
yeah,
like, a lot of times it's one of those things where we need to feel like we can get it, we can do it, we can recreate it. it's sort of a
Yeah.
challenge to recreate.
Yeah.
Luckily, that was one of those that wasn't that hard. Sometimes
Yeah.
they are.
Yeah.
There's a couple out there that I still haven't, things that I still haven't recreated to what I feel is as good as it can be. There's
Yeah.
I'm sure you've seen some of these videos online of a Omo rice omelet, and
Mhm.
it's a little football shaped thing of fried rice, but it's a sweeter version. And they take this omelet that's in the shape of like a shell and lay it on top of it and cut it, and it opens
Okay.
up, and it's this
Yep.
beautiful wet omelet. And they put demi-glace on it, and it's just a ooey gooey yummy mess. Well,
Yeah.
that omelet is not as easy to make as it looks. It's
No, it
hard.
is not. It is not. No,
I've made
you were talking about or I saw the Indian fry bread, and I was like, I haven't heard anybody even talk about it. It's obviously not something that I do in Atlanta, but I was thinking back, I was like, I haven't heard that in a long, long time, and literally the last time I was talking with Dave Anderson, and I was like, I thought Dave was the only guy that knew about this stuff, and now
Dave
here's
grew
Lan
up, and we
here
grew up in the same hometown.
really.
Yep. And so where he used to set an Indian fried bread taco stand up at the Ouachita Festival where I grew up, the festival that I used
Mhm.
to go to all the time. They had a booth there. Come to find out, and talking with Dave, I told him I was from Oklahoma, and then he said he was from Idabel. His dad was from Idabel, Oklahoma. I'm like, wait a minute, really? Next thing you know, we're talking about, and his dad was a big cook and did Indian fried bread, and it was a whole 2-hour conversation. So
Yeah.
me and Dave had that talk as well.
Yeah, and I was full disclosure. I was looking back and thinking, I was like, I kind of feel like they may have been like, there might have been some crossover at some point with these
Yep.
two guys. And I'm like, I'm just gonna wing it and just pepper it in at some point when I find a place to pepper it in. I said, it may be just sound like a complete name drop. I said, or it may actually be exactly what it was that you were talking about. I was like, that's awesome.
Yep.
So
Yep. There's a connection there for sure, man.
that is
He
awesome.
grew up with his dad cooking, and that's what gave him the bug and learning from his dad. And they did they started just the fried bread taco stand years and years ago, and it morphed into a national barbecue chain. I mean,
Yeah.
I don't have that much history in it, but his story's a lot cooler than mine.
Well, it's interesting because I sit and I chat with a bunch of people in the barbecue world, probably folks that I probably ain't got no right chit chatting with, but you guys fall for it every time where I get to sit and chat with you. But your story is interesting because a lot of the folks that get into barbecue, pretty much everybody, their growing up history is varied, but when they get into competition barbecue they go, one of two or three or four ways. And most everybody goes, oh, well, I'm going to start catering and then I'm going to try a restaurant thing and then I'm going to try this. But yours has been in competition barbecue and it's kind of stayed in competition barbecue. It's interesting just to see how you have done your barbecue lifestyle because it's kind of you started in the competition barbecue world and you're still in the competition barbecue world, doing a bunch of different other things to support that. But
There you go.
your frame is kind of still that competition barbecue. It's not, you're not opening two and three and four restaurants or partnered with somebody or have a national brand like Dave. It's just it's interesting to see and listen and learn the stories behind, where you are and where you've been and where you're going.
Well, and that's one of the cool things about this community. Like you said, people are willing to help these days. Early on, I had a lot of help and a lot of good advice from folks at the National Barbecue Association. I'd heard about it, but in 2009, they had a conference right here in our hometown. And so
Hmm.
I signed up to go to it, even though, I had a full-time job outside of barbecue then. But took the time to go to it because it was right here. It was easy.
Hmm.
And then going in there, some of the first few people I met were legends in barbecue that were like
Yeah.
instantly there, sort of sitting and waiting for folks to talk to them to help them. Like the
Hmm.
first couple of guys I walked in, I met Kel Phelps. Of course, he's the barbecue news guy. Talked to him. He instantly put me in place to help out with the class or help out with the conference or cooking or He plugged me in there, but I walked past Paul Kirk, and Paul
Hmm.
Kirk's one of the guys, one of the guys that I looked to his book to teach me how to make my products, my barbecue sauces and rubs. He's got a book that helps you create your own stuff. A lot
Hmm.
of recipes, but he's sort of got a roadmap of how to develop things. So I
Yeah.
learned a lot from Paul Kirk sitting in the lobby of this hotel in Olive Branch, Mississippi. And then one of the next guys was Sweet Baby Ray, Dave Raymond. He was sitting there.
Yeah.
All those guys want to hear your story and what you want, what you're there for, why are you there? And he's the guy that asks those questions. And I said, yeah, I'm the same guy. I want to open my own restaurant. We'll do this and that. And he goes, why would you do that? I'm like, well, yeah, I like cooking. I'm like, he said, but you're cooking now, right? Yeah. He said, so if I give you any advice and you don't listen to anything else, he said, keep doing what you're doing. He said,
Hmm.
don't open a restaurant. He said, I've done it. I would never do it again. He said, what you're doing works. I've done what you're doing and it worked. He said, and you're
Yeah.
kind of on the same path. He said, I encourage you to stay on that path and grow that and not get on that restaurant path. He said, I'm not saying it's not fulfilling. He said, but it's a much harder path than the one you're on.
Yeah.
And then I'm going to tell you, uh, Dave Raymond said that. Uh, Famous Dave said that. Paul Kirk said that. Kel Phelps said that. Trying to think of Myron Mixon said that. I'm trying to think of all the people that gave me that same advice at that conference. There's about 10 different people pretty much told me to do the same thing. Because I was there
Yeah.
looking for direction, I wanted
Yeah.
confirmation. I knew what I was doing was working, but I wanted confirmation of where I needed to go and what to do next. And
Yeah.
no less than 10 people kind of confirmed what I
Yeah.
thought
A
I needed to do.
little sounding board for you.
So you got all these people with all this experience at this one place, and that's always been the goal at BBQA. But a lot of folks will go to one of those conferences and they don't realize what they're getting. They're getting free consulting help
Hmm.
just by joining this organization. And they just get all these different people together, all these walks of life, and all these experience levels, and all these people are willing to help and share their knowledge. And that's
Yeah.
when you walk in, it's just like magic. It happens. All you do is put all these people together, and the synergy is created to help one another. And
Yeah.
it is a huge help to me. It's been a huge help to, I can't tell you how many people that
Yeah.
organization has helped.
I say you started out walking in and looking for information, and now I would imagine you're the one that folks are going to for information. So kind of full circle for you, I'm
It's how it's
sure.
supposed to work.
Yeah. Well, just furthers the barbecue lifestyle and
Yep.
grows the barbecue.
Yeah, we're headed to
I,
the BBQA conference tomorrow at
yeah.
Ocean Springs, Mississippi at the shed. They're going to have a couple of mini conferences through the year, and this is one. So, we're going to have some folks teaching.
Hmm.
There's going to be a lot of collaboration going on, a lot of cooking, a lot of questions, a lot of answers. So a lot of the same people are going to be
Hmm.
in Ocean Springs this weekend doing the same thing. So I encourage folks that are wanting to, if you, we did a lot of self-help classes back in corporate days, and that
Hmm.
was, learning how to gain trust and learning what your strengths and weaknesses and opportunities and threats. And that's one of the things that those self-help classes taught is surround yourself with people that are doing the things that you want to be doing.
Hmm.
And so that's what you do. You find the places that all those people are gathering and you go and you wedge yourself in the middle of all of it. And
Yeah.
that's how you learn.
Yeah. So anybody that's listening now, it's only Tuesday. If you're listening to this on Spotify, it's only Wednesday, and I'm sure you can get a hotel close by. Head out
Oh, yeah.
to Mississippi and go see Mark.
Oh, there's like I
Um,
said,
I
you just talked about Dave, famous Dave. He'll be there, I
yeah,
guarantee it.
yeah,
All those guys, all those OG guys, they still, if their health is good and they get somebody to help drive them there and go, those guys still show up and sit in the corner and answer questions.
yeah. That's awesome. Absolutely awesome. I have I've tried to get to one, but I have not succeeded yet. That is on my 2025 goal list is to actually physically make it to one. I'm probably not going to be this weekend because I'll be working my part-time job and not doing barbecue.
Well, if you given the opportunity, if you have if it's something you want to do, I encourage people to be a part of it. The National
Yeah,
Barbecue and Grilling Association. It's a it's a very open group that really kind of,
yeah,
like I said, sometimes all you got to do is just hear confirmations from folks once they kind of hear your story. But folks are there to
yeah,
help. It helped me a lot.
yeah. Well, everybody tells me that I've got a face for radio, so I've been listening to
Same
them
here, man.
and leaning on that face for radio that I've got. So we know where you've been, we know where you are. Where do you see Mark Lambert and Sweet Swine of Mine headed from 2025 forward? Is it just more of the same, or do you guys have any tricks up your sleeve that you care to share? Where do you guys go from here?
Man, we're pretty happy with what we're doing, but we're steady developing new stuff. So like I said, Texas Tornado's coming out next month. Our new
Mhm.
rub. So we're looking forward to launching that in its entirety to everyone. And a lot of different people have already tried it, but it's going to hit the market. It's going to hit national markets, and it's
Mhm.
we're really excited about it because so many people think it's so much better and different than something they've had in the past. So we're excited about
Yeah.
Texas Tornado. Um, we've got a couple of trade shows lined up. We're doing a boucherie next month. So we've got San Antonio Rodeo Barbecue that we do every year with our friends at the Texas Chrome Heroes Foundation. So
Hmm.
we're going to be going to San Antonio for the rodeo barbecue the weekend, not this weekend, but next.
Hmm.
And then we've got a little break in between. We've got a class scheduled the first part of February, Memphis and May tell-all class with us and Boars Not Out and John Wheeler from Natural Born Grillers
Hmm.
here. And then after that, we've got to prepare for the Houston Livestock Show Rodeo Barbecue World Championship.
Hmm.
We've got to prepare for that, and we've got right after that we're going to San Antonio, back to San Antonio for an Ace Hardware convention to promote our products to all the Ace Hardware vendors around the world. Then in March we've got most likely we'll have the State Cook-Off Association World Championship, and it just starts all over again. Kind of a lot of the same stuff that we do every year. There's a lot of big ones that
Hmm.
we hit every year that are
Yeah.
on the
For
schedule.
cause.
Yeah, we've got the first weekend of April is Hogs for the Cause in New Orleans. That's a pediatric brain cancer fundraiser, but barbecue cooks from all over come to that thing because it's a great music festival. It's a great cause, and it's
All
in
right.
huge competition, not only in whole hog but pork shoulder and ribs. And they got a lot of different ancillaries that are a lot of fun where people can be creative. So that's just really the first part leading up to Memphis in May. Um, Seems like there's one other big thing in there, but that's enough.
I say, so it don't sound like you're doing much of nothing this year. You're
No,
just
no,
laying
no,
back and relaxing,
no.
just hanging out,
I was telling my
just
dad
hanging
earlier,
out.
I enjoyed last night. So got home and had a small little meal and got up under my whoopee on the couch and was so comfortable at home under my blanket. But it doesn't take but 4, 5, 6 days of that where you're ready to go again.
Yeah.
And then you're gone 4 or 5 days, and you can't wait to get back to that whoopee on the couch where
Yeah.
everything's comfortable and quiet again. So it's a vicious cycle. We enjoy our time at home. We enjoy time on the road, cooking and seeing and helping, and uh,
Yeah.
we just hope we continue to be blessed to be healthy enough to keep doing it.
Absolutely. So we are about to arrive at the train station, let you get off this absolute train wreck of a podcast that I put on. Hit me with all your social medias. Where can we find Mark Lambert? Where can we find Sweet Swine of Mine, Faith and Fires, and all that is Mark Lambert?
Yeah. So Faith and Fires Ministries. We're on Facebook and Instagram and all that. You can find us also at Sweet Swan of Mine. Uh, we have our store here in Byhalia, Mississippi. You can find us at ssomd.com is our website. You can find us at Sweet Swan of Mine is our handle on Instagram. and you search Sweet Swan O Mine on Facebook, you'll get us. Sweet Swan O Mine is taken by an all-girls barbecue team at Hogs for the Cause in New Orleans. So
Interesting.
they snagged that on Instagram before me. They're Sweet Swine O Mine, but they only cook one contest a year. They don't
Yeah.
sell any products, and they raise money for pediatric brain cancer. So who am I to get in the way of that? And that's why I told them they were worried about me being mad at them. I said, hey, don't sell any products. Keep doing what you're doing, and please
Yeah.
keep doing what you're doing. And so if you
Absolutely.
go to Sweet Swan O Mine on Instagram, you'll get all the all girls team. But Sweet Swan O Mine on Instagram is me.
Yeah.
But you can also actually you can find us in Byhalia, Mississippi. You can find us in MBBQA this weekend. You can find us through their website, through our website. You can of course find us at Old School with Mark and Ashley every Thursday night at 7. We go
Hmm.
live on Facebook and Instagram and YouTube, and you can look us up there. Go to our YouTube channel and subscribe. That's the best way to see all the new content that we have coming out. Ashley is taking the charge on leading our social media, YouTube, and all that to make sure that we keep it on track. We produce more content, more relevant content, more professional content. So you're going to see more and more of that if you go and subscribe. You'll get notifications when we put new stuff out. We try to post it throughout the social media as well, so everybody to see it. But if you're subscribed, it really helps you to see new content that's coming out. So just search Sweet Swan O Mine on YouTube, subscribe, go and follow us on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, all those different things, so that we pop into your feed. If you like watching what we're doing, we'll pop in there if you subscribe and like and follow and all that kind of good stuff.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Get your algorithm slap full of barbecue with
That's right.
Mark
That's right.
Lambert.
And
Slap
then the cool
full.
thing too is that if you like what you see, a lot of times people will see something and they'll shoot us a message and we'll reply, and then or they'll call us and they're surprised that they get us on the phone. They think they're going to get a call center or something. I'm like,
Yeah.
we're not. That's not who we are. We answer the
Yeah.
phone. So
Ain't no
if you
call
call
centers
us,
in Mississippi.
you call us or email us, you're going to talk to us, and
Yeah.
that's what a lot of people do business with, because they get to talk to the people that kind of lured them in to begin with, that have
Yeah.
experience to help them. So
Yeah, for sure. It's kind of old school customer service, old school with Mark and Ashley. It's old school all the way around. We're cooking barbecue old school style.
that's how we grew up, do business, and cook barbecue both. So
Absolutely awesome. Guys, if you've enjoyed this week's episode, we would appreciate a review, a like, a share, and as always, keep smoking. I appreciate you, Mark. We're going to cut this live. Hanging with me for just a couple after this. Thanks, guys, on YouTube. Thanks, guys, on Facebook. We'll be back next week.